Welcome to another California Guy video with your boy California Guy. What's up, everybody, and welcome to this all new video. This video is a response to Roland Martin of Tariq Nasheed and the anti-black voting movement that started over the last week or two. Now, I've done a video about this before about African Americans and voting. As of late on social media, there have been this wave for blacks to not vote. And the conventional wisdom is they should not vote based on black people haven't gotten anything and we don't have nothing at the table. Um, there's been people like Jason Whitlock, Tariq Nasheed, Roland Martin, and not Roland Martin, Tariq Nasheed, Corey Holcomb, and many other African Americans have, and on social media like Twitter, have started this movement about blacks not voting. Now they tell black people not to vote due to they're not getting anything out of the deal. I was listening to Cynthia G also talk about the same thing, and here's my take on the whole thing. Black people not voting is very stupid. And I'm going to tell you why. Black people, I'm not saying that we have to vote for a Republican or a Democrat, but black people should vote. You vote your interest. Now, when black people say that they don't have an interest, well, you should present an interest. Black people interest, number one, should be health care. Health care should be on the table. You're voting for health care. But let's move on from even health care. You want to vote down the ballots. I think that black people are politically stupid because we think by not voting that we just don't exist at all in the United States. If you don't vote, you become an invisible minority in the country. And not voting presents a problem. Okay, let's go back in time. Ferguson. If black people had voted in Ferguson, you would have had a new mayor. You would have had a new city council members. The police goes by the police that are racist or you have problems with the cops is due to police chiefs. And guess what? Police chiefs get anointed and picked by mayors. A lot of the inner cities don't have, a lot of the inner cities, don't they have mayors and they have violence in their cities because of the mayors that they pick at times, or DAs, because we elect DAs. So black people elect DAs, district attorneys. Black people elect mayors, governors, and city council members. They all work hand in hand. And one of the things they have in common is blacks don't get no justice in these states because they don't vote. So you have fools on the internet that's saying not to vote, and they're not voting for justice, and that's why, they get these jury pools or they get the attorney generals of a state, and they don't respond to the justice system properly. And blacks don't know that they have power once they vote. If you're having a black agenda, but if you don't vote, then you have other people picking for you. You get people picking whatever DA and judge that you got, because judges are elected at times. Sheriffs are elected. So the voting is very important, whether you're voting for a Democrat or a Republican. So these guys are not even saying to vote locally. These guys are saying don't vote at all because there's no black agenda, because Mexicans have an agenda or Asian people and they have an agenda, but blacks don't. So you're hearing that in these videos, and I think it's very ludicrous that these African Americans are even saying that bullshit, because black people never presented an agenda, ever. They never presented it to Democrats, and they never presented it to even Republicans. Democrats have tried to push for some black agendas, the NAACP, the Urban League, and all these different groups have tried to push for a black congressional caucus. Now, I don't agree with a lot of these organizations. Some things I don't like that, these organizations present themselves with. But at the same time, they push for a black agenda at times. They try to push for it. You have a lot of African Americans that don't agree with it. They don't agree with it because we're looking at stuff from one point of view. You don't look at housing for African Americans, education. That's stuff that's important for black people. Housing, education, job training, and many other things besides prison reform. Roland Martin was absolutely right in what he said to Tariq Nasheed. Tariq's a fucking fool anyway. Anybody listening to him is absolutely stupid because Tariq Nasheed, he's anti-democrat. Number one, he's anti-democrat. He's anti-liberal. He's attacked liberals on a daily basis, and he's basically no different than the blacks that gathered around the White House with those MAGA hats, because you're emboldening those kind of blacks, and then the first thing you hear from Tariq Nasheed and Corey Holcomb and many African Americans on the YouTube is they're trashing the Democratic Party, they're trashing black liberals, and they're trashing the Democrats in general. When Roland Martin says to vote, Roland Martin does shows based upon um, police brutality, racism, and all that stuff. There, he knows the game. Um, we don't know the game. We look at stuff from a surface point of view. You got black men that are saying not to vote with no purpose. They're not even giving a reason. And again, you can vote locally. If you don't want to vote for a Democrat or Republican, fine. Why don't you vote for a governor? We just had two black governors, African American governors, that ran. Now you got these pro-black, conscious black people that's all black. Now these ain't biracial people. These ain't biracial individuals. These are black individuals, and they were thrown under the bus by pro-blacks. Pro-blacks threw these blacks under the bus who was going to be governor of Georgia, and in fact, Georgia was purposely going back to old racist tactics by purging black voters. Now, how does that make sense? You have people like Afro Synergy and many other African Americans trashing. These are Pan African people, mind you, trashing African Americans. Then they say they have a black agenda on the table, and if you're a Republican, black Republican, they're not going to give a fuck about a black agenda, by the way. So let's knock that out. But these were two African American individuals, and African Americans said, no, and then they gave a good reason. They said they're not going to vote. Now, I'm not saying that they had to vote for these African American individuals. I think you should vote for who you want to, but you still have two black people, and then you hear people like Tariq Nasheed say, it doesn't make a difference if you vote anyway, because at the end of the day, I believe that these black people like Tariq and Cynthia G and other ones, they don't want change. That's the whole issue. They don't want change. They want racism to still be rampant. They want black people to still be poor. They want black people to still suffer by police brutality and corrupt DAs and multinational corporations ruling over black middle class. They want this stuff to still take place because it's in their interest. A lot of these blacks that's on YouTube, they're trying to start these movements so that they can have attention on social media at best. People like Roland Martin, they want to make him a boogeyman because Roland Martin's more realistic. And other blacks like the Urban League, the National NAACP, and other groups that is encouraging voting, these blacks are saying not to vote. Now, it's if they was Republicans, I wouldn't even really say too much, but they're not even advocating that. They're just telling black people not to vote while trashing Democrats. That's what's going on with these individuals, and to be honest with you, if you don't vote, you might as well just vote for Republican. Those votes go to white Republicans who is gaining power by the day. The other day, the Senate just gained more conservative votes. The Senate got a bigger majority than they had last year. This year, I mean. Then you have a Supreme Court who is filled with conservatives that will a conservative bench who will push conservative policies like ending affirmative action, ending expanding police power, just little things like that, stop and frisk, all that stuff being danger due to, excuse me, y'all, due to African Americans making the wrong choices. And the black agenda, you know, I'm gonna touch on that in another video. But I'm telling black people who's smart out there, if anybody black is telling you not to vote, they're probably an agent, and they're telling you not to vote because they want Republicans to win these houses. That's what I believe is going on. Like and share this video, people. And I'm gonna go to another video, part two. So check out part two, a follow-up video to this.